All right. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Record.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Matt and Brendo's Wrestling Show. I'm Brendan Creasy,
I'm Matt Benson.
and we are back
We're
after
back.
our
It's
post
been a while.
SummerSlam show. You know, now we've got
Jesus, was that the last one?
That was the last one.
Oh my God.
But I mean, now I don't know. I'm on a new part of my life here. I'm in a new career path.
Yeah.
And and one of my goals for this year is to let's do this podcast, man.
Yeah. And I'm over here. I brought back Benson's boombox. We're bringing this back. I'm busting hiatuses left and right. And you know why? You know why, Brenda? You know why I'm doing that?
Why is that?
Because busting makes me feel good.
Oh, that makes me feel good too.
Yeah.
And we're ready for our. You know, we had our little. We had a run there, but we didn't quite reach the mid card. We're ready for our. We need to go for our mid card run now.
Yeah.
And reach for that brass ring.
We're going for the IC title right now.
Yes. But we got a ton of stuff to talk about.
Yeah. We're on the road to WrestleMania.
I guess this is our kickoff show for the Matt and Brendo Wrestling Show. Ready for our road to WrestleMania. So let's start it. We are on the road.
Yes.
And because as we've talked about, well, I guess we haven't talked about, but tickets have been purchased, plans have been made.
Yep.
And we are going to be at WrestleMania 31.
That's right.
At Levi Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a month away.
My dad was actually very jealous because the 49ers play there, and he's one of those sports guys.
Yes. And that was because they haven't even done it's a brand new stadium.
Yeah.
This was their first season. And they haven't done the Super Bowl there yet. And that was Vince McMahon's whole thing was he wanted to
beat the Super
Bowl to Levi Stadium because it's a huge stadium.
That's what I hear.
So it's there. I'm curious as to if it's gonna sell out.
How many seats is it? How big is the stadium?
It's huge. I mean, I think we're talking like 90. Let me look it up. But I think we're talking like
numbers on this.
90,000.
That's a whole lot of people.
Yeah, it is. And so I don't know what the seat arrangement will be for WrestleMania.
According to Wikipedia, the capacity is 68.
Okay, 68,000.
68,500.
Okay.
Expandable to 75,000.
Okay, 75,000. Next year is the 90,000 plus because it's going to be in Arlington at the Cowboy Stadium there.
This is my parents' dream, except that it's wrestling because my dad's a Niners fan, my mom's a Cowboys fan.
Yep. So we're gonna be there, Levi Stadium. We're gonna be in the upper deck, but we got middle upper deck, so
yeah.
It's gonna be good. And we're like right at the front of it too. So we spent some bucks this year to get those tickets. And I can't imagine like the people on the floor, like the people that are on the floor level, we're talking like hundreds and then into the thousands of dollars.
It's crazy. those rich folk down at the bottom there.
Yeah. So we're gonna be going on that road trip the end of March.
Yep.
And we've got things going on all week. The thing that's not as good as last year is the WWE really clamped down on pushing away the indie events, like in their contract with the city of Santa Rosa. Any public venue can't be used for other purposes.
Yeah.
And then any hotel or other thing that WWE uses, they lock them out of that. So the indies, but they are there. Just everything's spread out this year.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna be doing a lot of driving.
Yeah.
Because you got San Jose, Santa Rosa, and then some other places, or Santa Clara,
Yeah.
and that just the general area.
Well, it's the way we do things here on the West Coast. We drive everywhere. Everywhere's
Yeah.
spread out.
Because when I was at in New Orleans, the Ring of Honor event was pretty far out there, but everything else was like really close together, so it wasn't a big deal. Um, so it's going to be a little different this year. Things are going to be a little tight as far as like driving around.
Yeah.
'Cause we're going to be at the Santa Clara, sorry, not Santa Rosa, Santa Clara Fairgrounds for the Evolve events, and also, but then we are going to be going down into San Jose for, we're going to go see Mick Foley.
Yep.
And we were Ring of Honor. I guess I was basing it off of last year, and I feel like I didn't have to buy my tickets until like not this far out, and like the Ring of Honor show is sold out already.
Yeah.
It's probably because Ring of Honor, I don't even think they've ever come out here.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, I mean, they don't come out to the. They don't really cross the Mississippi that
Yeah,
often.
they don't come out here. It's not televised in California.
Plus,
This is a new frontier for them.
yes, and so it's been. But like since all the diehard wrestling fans are in town, that's a hot ticket, especially since
Yeah.
because of recent hirings and firings, the Ring of Honor roster is pretty nuts right now. Alberto El Patron.
Yep.
They got Matt Sydal.
Yeah.
They got and just recently PJ Black, Justin Gabriel.
Yep.
So they had Drew Galloway.
Good for Justin Gabriel. Finally, somewhere where he can actually wrestle.
Oh my God, I cannot wait. So like, let's use that as a transition here. Our first events that we're going to be attending, and there are still tickets available for these shows, and I highly recommend anybody who is going to be in town check them out. You can also check them out online. They're going to be streaming live iPay-per-view. But so on Thursday, the 26th, we're going to be at Evolve 39.
Yeah.
Which Evolve is kind of an offshoot of Dragon Gate USA, and it was one of the founders of Evolve is Brian Danielson, aka Daniel Bryan, and it is booked by Gabe Sapolsky, who was the former head booker of Ring of Honor and is a protege of Paul Heyman, and he's an amazing booker.
Yeah.
And they're really great shows. Like I said, I went to like 3 of their shows last year. And so they're going to be doing a bunch of stuff. The WWN Live experience at the Santa Clara Fairgrounds, and they're putting on a ton of shows. We're only going to be able to go to the Evolve shows, but they're also doing a women's Shimmer show, or Shine. One of the, I know there's 2 of different ones.
I believe it's Shimmer.
Yeah, and then they're doing like another super show, and they're doing a King of the Indies tournament, which is something they did like 10 years ago.
Aren't they doing Kaiju Big Battle too? Didn't I?
And they're also doing Kaiju Big Battle, so
yeah.
It's all the same group, and I'm really excited. So the first show, the Evolve 39, they're slowly announcing the card, but so far we have 3 matches for that show, and we've got Drew Galloway, aka Drew McIntyre, who was Evolve champion. Also recently signed to TNA.
Well,
and
up for him.
Hey, it's a steady paycheck.
Yeah.
And because TNA doesn't pay what they used to, they can do all the indie bookings they want, it seems like.
Yeah.
So you get best of both worlds. So for somebody, Vince has chosen one that was let go.
Yeah.
I think and he can travel around the world and he can wrestle at a level. He is no longer relegated to the 3MB status. And I've always thought that he's a great talent.
Yeah.
And lots of potential there. And we are going to get to see him wrestling Justin Gabriel in his new non-WWE name, Darewolf PJ Black, which I guess this is his. He was wrestling in South Africa.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that was Justin Gabriel. when I was in the
Yes.
card. Oh, that's
So
exciting.
that's Justin Gabriel. We're going to be seeing him wrestle Drew McIntyre, but this will not be the opening match on Superstars.
Mm.
This is going to be a
Yeah,
main event quality match.
yeah,
Like this is going to be them doing their stuff, and I'm really excited.
yeah. It sounds cool.
And
Definitely, this will be a big one.
yeah, and then we're gonna get to see some rookies in action. Biff Busick against Tommy End, who has really he's like the new he's the new hot thing.
Hmm.
He's getting ready to make his PWG debut. He's been endorsed by like Johnny Gargano and all these guys, and so he's supposed to be really good. And I've seen Biff Busick wrestle. I saw him wrestle last year at Evolve, and he's great. So it should be a good wrestling match.
Yeah.
It's really good. And then I am super excited for this. It's a special tag team match. You're gonna finally get to see Ricochet in action in person. Currently featured on, which we'll talk about in a while, Lucha Underground as their champion, Prince Puma. So Ricochet, I got to see him wrestle a few times last year. He's amazing. And another, there's a lot of rumors that this guy is going to be headed to NXT very soon. Yuha Nation, he's awesome. And against a super cool dude that I met last year, and he's a great wrestler as well, but like I actually got to talk to him, Caleb Conley. And then our Matt Benson's nemesis, Brian Cage.
Yeah.
Along with SoCal Val, so they're going to be teaming up, and
I'm gonna say he's been doing a lot since we last saw him. I'm gonna call that the Matt Benson bump. After after the promo he did with me, suddenly he's showing up on Lucha Underground and he's at this show. You see what appearing on the show can do for you young wrestlers out there.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I'm excited to see Brian Cage and Ricochet and all these guys. It's going to be freaking great.
Yeah.
And then speaking of Ricochet, the next night at Evolve 40, this is Friday. This is like their afternoon show. It's a nice little afternoon wrestling show.
Yeah.
You got Ricochet against Darewolf, PJ Black, Justin Gabriel.
Nice. Awesome.
This is probably going to be. This could be a potential match of the year candidate, and probably some high flying. Guarantee you some holy shit moments.
Yeah.
Because these guys both, if you've watched Lucha Underground at all, or if you haven't, you need to watch Puma, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
And then special challenge match number 1, we got Chris Hero,
who we saw at the QPW show.
Yeah, we've seen him, and I saw him last year at the Evolve. He was former Evolve champion. At the time I saw him, he was the champion.
Yeah.
Chris Hero taking on Biff Busick. Yeah, we saw Chris Hero wrestle Kevin Steen. That was fucking
great.
That
was a great match.
So they had like a confrontation last August. I think Chris Hero's been hurt, so he's making his return here, and that should be good. And then a wrestler. This would be one of my picks for Rookie of the Year last year. Timothy Thatcher he's a British dude. And he's going to be taking on Tommy End. Again, like Tommy End, the up-and-coming rookie here. And if you have a chance to see Timothy Thatcher, he's been wrestling on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And he's been doing a lot of stuff. He's really great. I saw him wrestle Drew Gulak last year twice, and they were phenomenal matches.
Awesome.
So that's going to be great. So Evolve shows looking awesome. Ring of Honor doing a show again. We didn't get tickets, but whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys we're gonna get to see because we're also gonna be going to WrestleCon.
That's right.
And we're gonna be doing the regular WrestleCon. They haven't announced like who's doing live stuff. There's always like cool little surprise events. Like last year, Goldberg and Sting both did like Q&As. I got to see that. There was like a live, Colt Cabana did a live show, Steve Corino did a live show, Kevin Steen did a live show. We won't be getting that this year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so hopefully there should be some cool stuff there. And then also as I told Benson, and I'm super excited for it. I wasn't really gonna try to, because it's basically like WrestleCon. The actual con part is pretty much like an autograph show.
Yeah.
Like, but it's still cool to walk around and see all these wrestlers and like talk to them, and then there's other vendors and stuff, and it's cool. But these guys are charging a lot of money, so since you're already spending a ton of money to get there, I don't quite have the money available to just drop on all these signings.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna do one this year because
which one?
Because Charles Wright, aka the Godfather,
oh yeah,
announced
you told me about this.
On Friday he's gonna be in his Godfather gear, but on Saturday he is gonna be in his Papa Shango gear.
And knowing what was your old handle, Papa Shango 86.
It was Shango 333 was
Shango 333.
my original AOL handle. So, and that's my favorite. One of my favorite memories in my youth was I went to a house show, and it was in '97 at the Pond, and I had a Papa Shango. I had a Shango 316 sign, and
Nice.
Charles Wright was wrestling as the Godfather as part of the Nation of Domination, and he came out. They were the heels, and I'm sitting there cheering and holding up my sign, and he had his whole tough Nation of Domination, and he does the whole like Black Power thing, and then he gets up in the turnbuckle and sees my sign and smiles and points at me, and it was awesome.
Nice.
Because not only did he acknowledge me, then he broke character.
Did you have any trouble getting that out of the house? Knowing you grew up in a religious home, Shango 316 sign, Shango, excuse me. Was that ever a cause for concern among your mother?
I don't think my mom really knew what was going on. I don't know.
I wonder. I said Shango just then. There's a dog at my work called Shango, and I always mix them up now because of that dog.
So I'm definitely going to be dropping my $20 to get a picture with Papa Shango.
Yeah, you gotta.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a ton of guests. I mean, just looking at their page here, as it loads. Well, there's a lot of guests.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for Papa Shango. Like Bret Hart's going to be there, Ricky Steamboat, all those guys. Unfortunately for Benson, I haven't seen Roddy Piper yet on the thing.
Yeah.
Would that be something you would maybe part with some cash?
I'd part with some cash for a pick with Hot Rod.
Well, you might get that chance.
Because he tweeted his email a while ago. I still gotta try emailing to see what happens.
You might get that chance. I mean, he still could be, because we got Terry Funk, Jushin Liger, Charles Wright, Lex Luger, Jake Roberts, Matt Stryker.
Yeah.
All these guys. Let's see, like Bubba Ray and Devon, Ric Flair. A lot of dudes. Barry Windham, Eric Bischoff. Let's see, Tatanka just announced.
Nice.
So, Hillbilly Jim, Demolition, Big Van Vader.
It's a big show.
It's a big
event. Big show. It's not that big show.
Yeah. But then on Saturday night they have their wrestling show, and then after the wrestling show, Colt Cabana does this big after party thing, which that should be fun.
Yeah.
But
is the full card announced for the wrestling show?
It looks like they haven't announced the full card, but they've confirmed quite a few wrestlers.
Yeah.
So the card they have so far is phenomenal. In the main event, this was the first match they announced, and this is where I'm like, okay, so I'm going to this.
Yeah.
Matt and Jeff Hardy against Sabu and Van Dam. Holy crap.
Yeah.
None of these guys are what they were.
No, but still.
It's still the Hardys against Sabu and Van Dam, two of my favorite tag teams of all time.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for this match. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Then we've got another awesome up-and-comer, ACH. If you're familiar with, he's wrestled on PWG, against John Hennigan, also known as John Morrison, also known as Johnny Mundo.
Yeah.
And then we got something that I'm looking forward
Johnny
to.
Nitro at one point. Am I remembering that correctly?
Well, Johnny Nitro is his initial when he was an M&M. He was Johnny Nitro and Joey Mercury.
A lot of last names like that.
Yeah. So
what's he hiding? That's what I want to ask.
So then we got a 5-on-5 captains pick match. They haven't announced the teams, but the captains are Colt Cabana against Team Funny Draws Money against Chris Hero. Team Chris Hero ain't nothing to fuck with.
Those are pretty solid captains.
Yeah, and also Colt Cabana just in the news. So apparently, I just read this on the sheets, but apparently Did you listen to the Art of Wrestling with CM Punk?
I did.
So they talked some shit about the WWE doctor guy.
I would say so.
He is now suing them for defamation of character.
Oh shit.
For over $1 million, both Colt Cabana and Punk.
Jeez.
So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. Because he's saying that they lied about what happened. Because Punk was basically saying that he misdiagnosed the staph infection.
Yeah, Punk was saying that he had this huge just mass on his back.
Yeah.
The WWE doctor just kept giving him Z-Packs, and that was it.
Yeah.
Which, of course, famously led to CM Punk shitting his pants live on SmackDown. And then he revealed that as soon as he walked out, he went to a non-WWE affiliate doctor and said, "Oh yeah, they said this is a huge staph infection. There's a real chance you could have died."
Yeah, they were like, "You should probably be dead."
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things like that. That is how Chris Candido died. That is because he wrestled on a staph infection, misdiagnosed. Like that's how Chris Candido died. Very sad. So it is something like that's nothing to like laugh about. And that's really serious, but now the WWE doctor is saying that that's not true. Because there's also something where he had a concussion. He got a concussion at Royal Rumble, and watching back, it's 100% clear. Yeah. Like, because I watched all the Royal Rumbles. Punk was definitely out of it, and they were saying that they basically told him he didn't have a concussion when he clearly did, and just a lot of crazy things. So we'll see what happens with that. So I'm just excited. Colt Cabana, Chris Hero, give me a 5-on-5 match. And then just before we started recording, I was super bummed out because I just got an email from Ring of Honor where they announced that Jushin Thunder Liger was going to be wrestling at the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor, which we didn't get tickets to.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, maybe. And then I managed to calm myself down because I'm like, well, since he's in town, he's probably going to be on other
somewhere else.
things.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, I open up this WrestleCon card, and here we go.
Yeah.
6-man tag match. Jushin Thunder Liger, Ricochet, and AR Fox.
Yeah.
Against Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, and Roderick Strong.
Solid group of guys.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. That match is going to be crazy. Still one of the best matches I've ever seen was Daniels and Kazarian against the Young Bucks.
Yeah, that was an amazing show. That was at QPW.
And now we're going to get to see them square off against the likes of Ricochet, Jushin Thunder Liger, and AR Fox, who are three of the... Jushin Thunder Liger is one of the greatest high flyers of all time. End of story. And then you got Ricochet and AR Fox, are two of the upcoming guys.
Yeah, a lot of talent in that ring.
A lot of talent. Also confirmed for the WrestleCon live wrestling event are the Dudley Boys.
All right.
Matt Sydal, formerly Evan Bourne, Candice and Joey, Brian Myers,
world's cutest tag team,
Big Rick, currently on Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
Do you think he likes actually having to wrestle now? Seeing as how he was getting paid to do nothing for like 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, but
he's like, oh man, now I gotta work. Shit. That's still one of my favorite tweets of all time was when JTG, when all that happened, tweeted, "Man, I knew I shouldn't have picked up the phone." Because I seriously think WWE forgot that JTG and Ezekiel Jackson existed for a minute. They were like the Walters of WWE. And until Monday, I thought that Darren Young was the next guy, and then all of a sudden they just had him pop up.
Yeah, I think they're like the Miltons in Office Space. If they were let go, they just forgot to stop paying them.
Yeah. So we got Big Rick. Then we got this is exciting, Abyss.
Nice.
Matt Stryker, who is very seriously entertaining.
Yeah, crushing it.
I saw him last year at WrestleCon. Yeah, I was reading online. I never read the comments on anything. I was reading this thread on Reddit, and all these guys are like, "I watched the Mexican broadcast, so I don't have to listen to Matt Stryker."
What?
Like, what? Matt Stryker's awesome.
He is fantastic.
People think he's too smart.
Oh
I'm like,
God.
oh yeah.
Go fucking watch Michael Cole. If that's what
you don't want somebody that like can actually like say what the moves are and talk about wrestling in a intelligent way. Oh yeah, I don't want that at all.
Yeah.
Plus he's funny.
He's funny. Like he knows how to be a heel announcer in a way that a lot of guys today seem to not.
Yeah.
That Striker's great.
But he's also a talented wrestler, so that should be fun.
Yeah.
We also got somebody we've oh wait, I don't think you've seen him, but Tommaso Ciampa from Ring of Honor and PWG.
Yeah.
And we got Caleb Conley, some other Ring of Honor guys, Cedric Alexander, Jake Manning, and here's a big one.
There we go.
Disco Inferno.
All right.
So after the show, late night with Cole Cabana and friends.
Yep.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's a stacked card already.
I mean, it's awesome. Last year, the WrestleCon show did not let me down. It was great. Candice and Joey were great. Because it was in New Orleans, everybody threw beads at Joey.
Nice.
I got to see one of the greatest dream matches. Kevin Steen against Masato Tanaka. Wasn't even the main event. So it's it's just it's gonna be exciting. I just was thinking about how 1 year ago I was talking to Kevin Steen at WrestleCon, and now he is NXT champion.
Yeah.
And I am hoping. I
was watching him brush his teeth at the QPW show.
Yeah.
Now he's NXT champion.
And I'm hoping that they have like an NXT section at Access. They did last year.
Cool.
And because with the NXT ones, I hope that they're doing and that way, because last year they did a signing and I didn't make it over there, but that might be a priority for me because I just want to be like, this is so cool that I'm seeing you here now, because last year seeing where you were a year ago, and also like he's just, we'll talk about this in a minute too, but he is crushing it in NXT as. Yeah. Anybody who doubted that he would is an idiot. I mean, he's pretty awesome. So that's what we got going on. And then the actual, Access, WrestleMania,
of course,
and Monday Night Raw. It's gonna be fun. Yeah. I'm excited. You excited?
Oh yeah, this is exciting. This is great. My first WrestleMania live.
Yes, my second in a row.
So it's gonna be a great week.
So let's get down to some of the more nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Royal Rumble for a minute.
Yeah.
The internet flipped out.
Well, here's the thing about the Royal Rumble, and if you want, I talked about it on agentsofguard.com. You can check out my review.
Yeah, you're doing a column.
Yeah, to me it wasn't necessarily that it was horrible, the Rumble. It was just in every instance it seemed to me they made the most bland choice possible, which is almost worse.
Also, my whole thing with the Rumble is, one, I feel like with the Royal Rumble match. Especially since I watched every Royal Rumble match. Basically, before the Royal Rumble, I watched every Royal Rumble leading up to it. I went through on the WWE Network. I watched every single one. And this Royal Rumble match, I feel like maybe because Pat Patterson is semi-retired now, or whoever they got, like the way they're booking the Royal Rumble, the actual match
Yeah.
itself, it's just not exciting.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what
Like,
they were doing with Daniel Bryan. They just bring him in and out. He didn't give him a chance to do anything.
and it's just so like, okay, you've got the monster heels just destroying,
Yeah,
like, and then you got these other guys, and these guys aren't. But like, I just watching some of the older Royal Rumbles, and I'm not even talking like old. I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm talking
yeah,
about like recent, like like most eliminations, like they're exciting, they mean something, they're
yeah,
important, like
yeah,
it's a battle, and it's just like, oh, and like it was like, and like anything could happen, because and it creates this, there was this environment that anything could happen, but now it seems like it's just, oh, okay, we know what we're getting to here, and
Well, yeah.
let's get
That's
there.
the point of the Rumble is anything can happen, and it's like a showcase. You can kind of test out different matchups between wrestlers. See what the audience might like, and it's a chance to try new things and be exciting. And this year, it reinforced
Yeah,
everything you would believe about
like
the predictability
every
of a wrestling match.
every point where you're like, ooh, this is gonna get good, this is exciting, they would do something, they would do the opposite of what you thought they would do to make it exciting.
Yeah.
They would pick the boring choice.
Without exception. Kofi's big spot this year was crowd surfing, which,
Yeah,
like, I could do that with a willing crowd. I could do that.
yeah. Well, I knew at some point we were gonna hit the, like, because after last year's, I'm like, what the hell are they gonna
Well,
do?
exactly. And I was thinking that too. But I think the answer is to do nothing. It's to say, hey, we had a
Yeah,
good run, and not try to repeat it instead of
it
what
was pretty lame. So the Royal Rumble match was pretty disappointing. There was some great, like, appearances. I mean, like, DDP got a crazy pop.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Bubba Ray coming back in Philadelphia was awesome.
So I
Um,
mean, because he's at one of the shows we talked about. So
yeah,
he's not like signed to WWE
sounds
yet.
like
I mean, what happened?
that was a one-off,
Yeah.
or maybe they're evaluating.
Hmm.
I don't know.
And
Um,
it was kind of, I kind of come down on both sides where it was kind of weird, but also I kind of liked seeing him do Dudley Boy's moves with R-Truth.
I thought it was
I
fun.
thought
I
I thought
liked
that I
it.
liked it. I liked that a lot. Yeah.
It was entertaining.
Yeah.
Everything was great, and like until as soon as Daniel Bryan got eliminated, that was the end of the Royal Rumble.
And it was really, I had to go back to make sure because I literally looked at my phone, and when I looked up, he was eliminated. Like, that's how
Yeah,
little of a deal they made about it.
they did made no deal about it, and so here's, and the thing that's the bummer, that because like the internet just lost its goddamn mind. Well, that building lost its goddamn mind.
I mean, yeah, he got booed harder than Batista did last year.
Like when everybody, and then everything that happened after that was just getting shit on.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine what it must have been like backstage when they're like, all right, we got this. All right, send out The Rock, it'll be fine. And then like when that gets shut down, what was that like? And like Vince, like I wish I could. I want to be in the room.
Yeah.
Like I want to be a gorilla or wherever they are when that happens.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh fuck.
And it's just like, it's this weird delayed reactionary action they're taking, because like last year the crowd went crazy wanting Reigns to win.
Yeah.
So and somewhere Vince or someone's brain's like, well, they wanted Reigns, so Reigns is gonna win next time.
Yeah,
I'm thinking that there would be a year in between them.
I feel like if they had done this differently, it would have worked.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a problem with them choosing Roman Reigns. In fact, I like the idea that they're finally picking a young talent to give a monster push to. They haven't done that in a long time. The last mega young talent for them to give a giant push to is probably like Brock Lesnar. They don't do this. And then that's where things get so stagnant, because they don't do things like this. And then for them to try something, and then for the audience to shit all over it. Now this is where Vince McMahon in his warped mind is like, well, this is why I don't push any new young stars.
Yeah.
But he doesn't understand, because everything would have been fine if they hadn't announced that if Daniel Bryan hadn't announced he was going to be in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
If they had just waited for Daniel Bryan to come back the Monday after the Royal Rumble,
yeah,
I feel like everything would be totally different.
Yeah.
But because Daniel Bryan is there, you're like, okay,
if
they are making
that, if they had given Ziggler and Sando a little bigger spot in the Rumble,
yeah,
I think they could have really turned it around.
Yeah, but because I don't know why they decided that it was a good idea to have Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
I don't know whose call that was. It was a horrible call.
Yeah.
Because as soon as Daniel Bryan says he enters the Royal Rumble, based on what happened last year, you're like, all right, this is it. This is like, he's going to win because he didn't win, he wasn't even in the Royal Rumble last year.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, watching that back, it's like, when they were just chanting Daniel Bryan, like for the like as soon as like number 28 happens, and then there's nonstop Daniel Bryan chants. And number 29, the Daniel Bryan chants get louder, and as soon as Rey Mysterio Jr.'s music hits for number 30, it's kind of amazing that crowd just didn't start killing everybody, and I'm sure people in that crowd wanted to.
Yeah.
And poor Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
And then it's like, congratulations. And again, like, if you're gonna do that, do something like again, I mean, this is a year out, but that was where they should have had Bad News Barrett come out.
Yeah.
That would, like, if you're gonna do that, like, okay, that's stupid, but then at least make something out of that. Don't throw Rey Mysterio out there. But now they did it all over again. It's, I don't know.
So I mean, are they just
and then Vince McMahon's just blaming it all on the millennials.
Is this just them burying Dan Bryan? Is that what's happening? Is he never going to see his day?
According to them, I think they think in their minds that he saw his day, and then he got hurt. And that sucks. I feel like the crowd is too behind Daniel Bryan for him to just go away.
Yeah.
I just don't know when. I don't know, because I don't know where Daniel Bryan fits. If it were up to me, I'd let him have that. I'd give him the run that he deserves. Let him have a real run.
Yeah.
Don't let him fester, and I don't want Daniel Bryan to be the next CM Punk. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah. And I mean, do we want to talk about Fastlane now, or we want to save?
We'll talk about it in just 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah, but let's also so yeah, it's a super bummer. And I don't know where Daniel Bryan fits in the future. I guess we're gonna find out real soon.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But what I do know is that before going into that Royal Rumble match, I was like, this could be the greatest thing ever, because that triple threat match.
That was a good match.
Holy shit.
The spirits were high leading into the Rumble match.
That triple threat match was incredible, and it proves to me that Seth Rollins is the future of the WWE.
Yes.
Because
I will co-sign on that, absolutely.
Like, he held up his end of that match better than anybody could have imagined.
Yeah.
But I give huge props to all three of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, they were great.
And people shit on Brock Lesnar all the time for God knows what reason. He sold the shit out of all of that.
He did.
He's amazing. I don't understand what people have against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
I guess it's the whole like part-time thing, but I think that's part of what makes him good. Like, at this stage in his career,
people don't like a part-timer unless it's Taker. Like, I think you have to reach that level before you become a part-timer for people to not be mad at you for it.
But I just think part of what makes Brock great is that he is a big event guy, and his matches have that feel.
Yeah.
And um, and he continues to impress me in the ways that he can convey himself as an unstoppable monster. Because he did destroy both those guys, but it also felt like there were times when I'm like, holy shit, like this, like he also felt he was super vulnerable.
Yeah.
And
It's actually thinking about it just now. This is, this is kind of the run they tried with Ryback, like a
yes,
year and a half ago. That Ryback just utterly failed and sucked and couldn't sell it at all. Brock Lesnar is kind of doing the successful version of that, which
well,
is nice to see.
because Lesnar can work,
Yeah.
and he has Paul Heyman,
Yes. Exactly.
and Paul Heyman, like the moment you think he can't pull something else out of his pocket, he continues to do that. And Paul Heyman is the reason why I think the Roman Reigns Lesnar match is going to work.
Yeah.
And what's going to make this great. Now, let's talk about Fastlane.
Okay.
In what scenario does Roman Reigns not win this number one contenders match?
Well, I mean, I feel like WWE is kind of in this weird zone where their version of a swerve, or their version of trying to surprise the fans by giving them what they want. And we saw this, I forget which year it was, that year where the WrestleMania was terrible and the Raw the next day was awesome. I think they're in this weird place now where they don't give you the thing when they should at the big the big event, and then they just kind of throw it in somewhere after. So I think with that line of thinking, maybe this is how they put Daniel Bryan in the main event of WrestleMania.
But so do you think he's going to win this match with Roman Reigns and Reigns is out? Or do you think they're somehow going to turn this into a triple threat?
I mean,
should there be another triple threat?
I think they're going to turn it into a triple threat. If I'm being cynical, I think that's where this is leading. I hope it's not.
I think Daniel Bryan's going to lose clean.
You think so?
For the good of because Roman Reigns has to get over. If Roman Reigns doesn't see this through, I don't know what's going to happen. That's not good for the future of him and for the future of fresh storylines in this company.
I mean, yeah. What about the future of Daniel Bryan? I mean, where does he go from here?
That's the thing. Daniel Bryan's my favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
In my fanboy things, I want to see Daniel Bryan beat. Just as a pure wrestling fan, I want to see Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Absolutely. I want to see that match.
Yes.
But I also want to see Roman Reigns succeed for the greater good. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Okay, what about this? Let me pitch this overall deal to you. So, Bryan loses clean to Reigns. Reigns beats Lesnar at WrestleMania. Rollins cashes in.
Yeah.
Doesn't win. They feud for the title for a while. Or does win. They feud for the title for a while. That doesn't really matter. But they feud for a title for a while. And then next WrestleMania is Rollins versus Bryan.
See, that to me is that's a solid thing. That's solid. That but that if I were in charge, I would want to look that far down the road, and I want to see a future where it's not that I want that future. That's a bright future.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Vince McMahon here.
I mean, yeah, that's where it all falls apart.
And is Vince McMahon already soured on Roman Reigns? I guess we're going to find out on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, he's a big guy. We know Vince loves a big guy.
Yeah, but he also doesn't love that the entire world seemed to turn against him at the drop of a fucking hat. And now everybody's saying that Roman Reigns can't work and he's horrible, and I'm like,
That's
Everybody
not
was
true.
like,
That's not
the
fair.
Shield was the best in the moment,
Yeah.
and it doesn't make any goddamn sense. So
And
the
that's the real tragedy of the Rumble. It's not Reigns' fault the way that
no,
it played out.
no, not at all. And that's where I don't want Reigns to get completely buried in all this because he's so young, he has so much potential, but this is the kind of thing that can kind of crush all that.
Yeah.
And I would hate for that to happen because he has unlimited potential. He's so young and he's got it. I
Yeah.
think he needs to develop it more, but I think he's at a level. He's been wrestling at a main event level for about a year now.
Yeah.
Um and I think if he's going to have good, he can have good matches and he's going to have and I think he can have a great match with Daniel Bryan. I think he can have a great match with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out Sunday.
I don't know. It could be some kind of swerve, but I don't think so because I'm
real worried they're heading towards triple threat territory.
I just feel like having another triple threat, it kind of waters down that Mania main event, man.
Well, I agree. I don't want a triple threat, but I am afraid.
I understand. I know how. I know. Especially, man, did we get a peek into the brain of Vince McMahon on that Stone Cold podcast?
I gotta listen. I still haven't listened to that.
Oh well, you should watch it on WWE Network, and it's great. He just did one with Triple H,
okay,
which was really good too. But I have a lot of faith in Triple H, and we'll talk about it in a minute, because NXT is amazing, and that's all Triple H.
Yeah.
And I think
that he can't just help his friends all the time. He's come to a more honest place in his booking, Triple H.
That, and I think he really I think he has a better big picture outlook.
Yeah.
And he plans things way more.
Yeah, I mean, and it's always been with him when he's good, he's really good.
Yeah.
So.
Because I mean, I don't think Vince is horrible. I just think he is increasingly more out of touch.
Yeah.
And he's also extremely stubborn, and he uses this is the whole millennials thing. I can't get over it. And the fact that he buried Cesaro.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he continues to, but I don't know. But speaking of Cesaro, I mean, there is a hopeful outlook for Cesaro at this point. But let's go down this card because we're going to be talking. We're going to be doing a post Fastlane episode at some point in the future soon.
With
so we got Hal Lublin coming back on the show.
Yeah, Hal. I talked to Hal Lublin the other day, actually over email and then in person at a Thrilling Adventure Hour show. And he wants to do the show again. He brought it up. So we're going to try to work the scheduling out. I know he's real excited for Fastlane. We talked about that. Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to get him on sometime next week for the post Fastlane show. Okay. If not, definitely sometime after that. And then
we can probably depending on the scheduling, we'll probably do another show before WrestleMania. Because we got to run down the WrestleMania card, you know.
Yeah.
And
let's run another Fastlane card.
Let's go down this. Okay, so U.S. title match: John Cena versus Rusev. I'm pretty sure this is going to lead to a rematch at WrestleMania. So what's going to happen here? Is John Cena going to win here, or will there be some kind of shenanigans or something, and then he will win at WrestleMania? I don't know. What do you think's gonna happen?
This is a weird one. It's gonna be. I mean, it seems like this is at some point or another gonna end with the U.S. title on John Cena, which is a weird thing because who beats Cena for the U.S. title?
I don't know, but it does elevate the U.S. title, and that's. Good.
Definitely, yeah.
I feel like it already is elevated since they put it on Rusev. That's probably the best booking decision they've made in recent times. That was a great call there, and I think I also maybe Rusev holds on to it for a while. I don't know.
To be honest, I think this is probably I'm the most optimistic about this because I really, I don't know where this goes, and but I kind of like what they're doing.
I like what they're
Right
doing.
now.
There's a lot of intensity in their promos. Rusev continues to get better.
Yeah.
And I think he's the heel that WWE needs,
Yeah.
and continues to improve. And putting him now, he's at they've steadily grown and grown, and we're now at he's wrestling John Cena, and it's a natural progression. And I think this is how you bring in. Hopefully, this has been a instance that you can point to when about like bringing in NXT talent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
because there have been some misfires, but here's one that was definitely successful. So it was organic, and they're not trying to force it on everybody, which I feel like they've tried to do with some of the NXT talent they brought in, and which makes me a little concerned for future NXT talent that get called up.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of them, if you're good enough, you can overcome shitty booking and bad gimmicks.
Yeah.
Look at Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Look at a lot of these guys.
Look
at Triple H.
This is a total tangent here, but have you ever seen Grown Ups 2?
No.
Do you know what the podcast about
it? You told me about it, yeah.
Yeah, the worst idea of all time. These two New Zealand comedians watch the movie once a week, every week for a year. And I went to their live final episode where they screened the movie and then did the final episode of the podcast.
Oh my god!
And I gotta say, that was the third time I'd seen the movie in the name of the podcast.
I can't believe you watched that movie 3 times.
And I gotta say, I came away from it really enjoying Steve Austin's performance.
Hey,
upon the third viewing, I realized some subtleties in his performance that I hadn't noticed.
I enjoy Steve Austin as an actor.
Steve Austin is very good in Grown Ups too.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I mean, don't. I would ultimately advise don't watch the movie. But
I mean, it's just Steve Austin. It's not worth it for Steve Austin and Shaq alone.
I mean, I would say them two and John Lovitz are the best parts of the movie, but it's still not worth watching the whole thing.
Well,
I will say though, seeing it live and I was sitting right behind Tim and Guy, the guys from the podcast. They were right in front of me. It was one of the best shows I've ever been to in my life. It was so much fun. People were cheering at the especially bad parts of the movie, the parts I mentioned in the podcast. It was a whole lot of fun. I highly recommend that podcast. And this is, of course, tangentially related because Steve Austin was in it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sink us.
That's okay. So, next we got Dean Ambrose against Bad News Barrett.
Yes.
That should be a great match.
Yeah, I like both those guys a lot.
I still think it's weird that Dean Ambrose was like. I feel like they kind of misfired. They kind of missed an opportunity with Dean Ambrose because I feel like for a minute there, like when Reigns was hurt, he was like crazy hot.
Yeah.
Like main eventing with John Cena, and then they pushed him down a little bit, and I'm like, what the fuck are you people doing? Like,
I mean, this is a situation where these are two people that I would like to see pushed more. But I mean, you can't do that in a match with them against each other. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's a good match.
I think it'll be a great match. I still think will Dean Ambrose get that hot again? Oh, absolutely. I just feel like when a wrestler is that huge, you gotta
capitalize.
You gotta capitalize, and they didn't, and that bummed me out because like, and that's where again I feel like Vince McMahon's in his, because I feel like in older times when wrestlers would get that hot, they did that more.
Yeah. And we'll talk about.
There's always instances of where guys were hot and they kind of quenched it. I mean, the biggest one after watching all the Royal Rumbles, I feel like there was a minute in 92 or 93 where Sid Justice, if Hulk Hogan's ego hadn't been there, Sid could have been the man. Because there was a moment where it was in that Royal Rumble before WrestleMania 8, so that was like 93, where Sid was getting like crazy cheers and Hogan was getting booed. But Vince is like, Hogan, yes, Hogan. And so I guess he's always done that.
Yeah.
But he's also, I don't know.
I mean, and it's happened. God knows how many times to Ziggler that this cycle has happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
So I guess that's how it is,
Yeah.
Not everybody can be champion. Not everybody can be in the main event, and sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong. That's just how it is.
I would really like for it to happen with Dean Ambrose. I love me some Ambrose.
Yeah, and his character is great. His promos are amazing.
Yeah.
He's great. He's got a Steve Austin thing sort of going on.
Yeah.
That is, again, like the crowd's eating it up.
Yeah. Bizarro Shawn Michaels, I think you called him once, which I think is kind
absolutely.
of perfect.
And it's good to see Bad News Barrett back.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't get injured again. Because that seems to be the thing that's holding him back.
It was a recent Popsicles, I think, when I was trying to remember where I heard a Bad News Barrett reference and I wasn't expecting it.
Oh, that was me.
No, it was the Daily Show. Just in the middle of one of the stories, Jon Stewart just said, "I've got some bad news for you."
I saw that too.
He just said that, and no one in the crowd laughed, but at home I was like, "Yes," because he didn't call it out. He didn't say what it was.
And Barrett called him out on Twitter.
Yeah.
So they're having like some back and forth. It's a
lot of fun.
My favorite thing that the WWE has done this year has been the partnership of Cesaro and Tyson Kidd.
Yeah,
it kind of came out of nowhere, and I was like, "Holy shit, they're doing it!" And
yeah, I was kind of hoping they would have the balls to do a straight up Tyson Kidd and Natalya feud, but I understand why that probably won't happen.
It might happen somewhere down the road.
and I do like this combo a whole lot.
And they are amazing together. They're really funny. And they're also two of the best wrestlers in the WWE right now. And I don't know if they're going to actually get the titles here, but I hope they do.
Yeah.
I really do. The Usos have been great. I think they're formidable tag team champions.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Usos.
But I want to see Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, and I think a lot of people agree with me on that. I love that they brought the swing back and they added the finisher there.
Yep,
it's awesome.
Looking good, and I think also this is it's a good development in the tag team division. Instead of just taking two guys who are both really big and mashing them together, they're taking two guys who are sort of underappreciated.
Yeah,
making an even stronger team out of them. It's really great.
Yeah. All right, we got Paige versus Nikki Bella. I don't know how they managed to turn Nikki Bella into a believable champion, but they kind of have.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, she's gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
The WWE divas, like, especially compared to the NXT women's division, it's just not. They're not even on the same level.
They don't treat women like people in WWE.
It's true. And they're always incorporating. It's all just about total divas.
Yeah.
And so that bothers me because I wrote that, like, I'm worried the divas that get called up from NXT will get ruined due to all this total diva stuff overshadowing the actual matches and wrestling.
Yeah.
And because right now, like on the NXT division, you've got Charlotte, you got Sasha Banks, you got Bayley, you got Becky Lynch, like all these phenomenal wrestlers, and they bring them, and I don't know. I mean, Paige has managed to stay in a pretty good spot, but they kind of she's not.
They're not really letting her do real matches.
Yeah. Like they're not actually I feel like they're barely wrestling.
Yeah, it's a shame the state of it right now. I hope it gets better. I don't. I mean, did they ever really? I mean, I guess the Attitude Era you had Lita and Trish Stratus and all them.
Yeah.
But even then, it was like half the time they're doing bra and panty matches.
Yeah.
Was it ever good? The women's
In
division.
WWE,
WWE.
I mean, they've had their moments, but yeah, as you pointed out, like there were times. I mean, yes, you had Lita and Trish main eventing Raw, but then for every one of those there was a brawn panties or a nightgown match or
Yeah,
a mud bowl match or all that stuff. And it's
yeah,
unfortunate because if you watch NXT, if you go to the Indies, if you even watch TNA,
yeah,
like women's wrestling can be good and can draw and can be as awesome as the men's wrestling if you treat it that way. I mean, like there was a period in Japan where the women in Japan were better than the men.
yeah,
Like, and it was bigger than the men's wrestling. And so it is possible, just Vince McMahon doesn't seem to believe that.
yeah.
But again, if you look at NXT, it seems like there is a hope for the future. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just not to get dark. I feel like it's not gonna happen until Vince dies. Like I feel like that's the soonest it's gonna happen.
I know, but it's just, yeah. All right, and then this is a recent development. We got Stardust versus Goldust.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm excited, but I feel like this should have happened a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. This is also. When are we gonna see Mizdow versus Miz too? I feel like they're taking it slower than they should.
They need to. That should have happened at Royal Rumble. I feel like. So that's kind of a bummer, but I think it'll be a great match, and I'm excited to see where they go because again, I feel like Cody has unlimited potential.
Yeah, and he's just. For the last 5 years, he's just been kind of plugging along.
Yeah.
Utility player. He's great, and I don't know if his day will come, but I think this is going to be a good match either way.
Okay. And here we have Seth Rollins, Kane, and Big Show versus Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan, and Ryback.
Yeah.
We've seen this 10 million times.
Seen it a million times. Why don't you just literally let's just do Ziggler versus Rollins and just tie it back to
Ziggler versus Rollins
because that's what they're doing.
Yeah. Also, I think it's also funny that I assume that at some point Randy Orton's going to come back to feud with Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
But they just keep because I don't think he's hurt.
Yeah. I like to not think about it.
We're living in a world without Randy Orton, and nobody seems to care, and
yeah,
and that's fine. But
it's a weird thing. I don't like Randy Orton a whole lot, and yet it's not like I felt great that he's been gone. I just literally forgot he existed in the time that he's been gone. Because that's the thing with Randy Orton. It's not that he's a bad wrestler. It's that he is so uninteresting. He is just a void of excitement.
Well,
and when he's gone, you don't notice it because he's the opposite of memorable.
Well,
I feel like as soon as he retires, a year later, people are going to have forgotten he was ever a wrestler.
Well, maybe a feud with Seth Rollins could bring some life into him. You know?
Maybe, I don't know.
I think they could have some good matches, but I think I'd be more interested in Ziggler Rollins.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't really care about this match. I don't. I mean, I get it. Kane and Big Show, they're still out there. Still. I mean, what do you do with these guys? You just.
How much longer do they have? Do you think?
I don't know. Because neither of them should be wrestling anymore. When you really think about it,
yeah,
all their contemporaries are retired.
Their contemporaries, and this is unfortunate.
They're not exciting. I mean, they can, but I think the reason why is that they don't hurt people. They make people look good.
Yeah.
And, that's what they're there for, but. At least mix it up a little now and then. Yeah. How many times have we seen a version of this match?
I feel like it's just obligatory. I feel like every pay-per-view for like the last year has
Well,
had
then
one.
like every SmackDown and Raw is
I
like,
mean, yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
dear God, if I see another 8-man, 6-man tag match
Good.
involving these
I'm gonna
guys,
be sick. I have to confess too. I've taken up this habit now of if I fall behind on Raw, say if I look at my DVR and there's like 2 or 3 of them, I'll just watch the most recent one and delete the other 2 because
well, you also
you're gonna see
see
the clips a
you
million
basically
times
see the
anyway.
clips. Yeah, I mean, you might miss some cool little things, but I don't blame you
Yeah,
and then also watching SmackDown,
and it's helped because I don't see I see 1/3 as many of these matches as I otherwise would,
yeah.
and good God, that's a relief.
But the other thing is like watching SmackDown, they do more stuff on SmackDown now,
Mhm.
like actual storyline. But then they'll have a 6-man, and then they have the same goddamn 6-man the next week on Raw, and it's like, what the?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they could be
Oof.
they could be
That's what I
mixing
say to
it up.
that.
They
Oof.
could be mixing it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Their TV booking needs some work.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
then we have basically a prequel to the what is inevitably going to be the Sting and Triple H WrestleMania match.
Mhm.
I guess this is just going to be a Sting and Triple H face-off.
What is this? I'm looking at the Wikipedia, the card on Wikipedia.
Like
What is?
it's
Remind
like
me. What is this exactly? What are they doing?
it's Triple H called out Sting, and he basically they're going to have a face-to-face
Okay. Cool.
because they're obviously going to have a WrestleMania match. I don't know if this they're trying to get.
Let me ask you this, because I was a firm WWF kid back in the day. I never watched WCW.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can recognize Sting intellectually as an amazing wrestler, one of the greats. But I will never have that gut emotional reaction to Sting that I know you have.
Yeah.
Having seen you when he came out at the Mattel event. How do you feel about Sting's run here? Is this sad for you? Is this
No, I feel like I think it's great. I feel like it's unfortunate that it took so long, and I'm just excited to see. I think he's got that one match. I think he has.
he's got one
I
more in
think
him?
he's been working hard.
I mean, yeah,
He's
he's had. I mean, since he's not wrestling regularly, I mean, Undertaker still had some great matches right until the end of his run.
well,
Although he's not the end, but the end of the streak.
yeah. And I think he's in he's in good shape, and I am beyond excited to see Sting wrestle.
Okay.
And I'm excited to see. I think if it's not going to be Undertaker, and I understand why it's not going to be Undertaker, then I think Triple H is a good choice, because Triple H can still wrestle, and he can still wrestle really well.
I don't know if I agree with that.
What?
I don't know if I agree with that.
His match with Daniel Bryan was great.
His match with Brock Lesnar was not.
No, but his match with Daniel Bryan was after his match with
Fair enough.
Brock Lesnar,
Fair
and then also last year he was in a couple matches with the Shield, and those matches were great.
All right.
They were.
To be honest, I don't remember those.
Well, you should go back. They were
Okay.
They were good.
When were these? Were these on pay-per-views or?
Yes.
Okay.
I know there was at least one. There might have been two.
I mean, I definitely watched them because I watched all the pay-per-views. I don't remember that at all.
There was when Rollins jumped from like the one level onto the lower level.
Oh, okay, I remember that. I'm just seeing Rollins just jump onto like just a blurry spot. That's what I'm seeing.
It was against Evolution.
Oh shit! Yes, I remember that.
Batista.
And you're calling half of that match good?
I thought it was a good match.
I do remember that now, but I'm going to attribute 95% of what worked with that match to Shield and not Evolution.
Well, I agree, but I'm just saying that I think Triple H is a good opponent for Sting.
You know why? You know why I forgot those? Because Randy Orton was involved.
Well, Randy Orton's not involved in this.
Okay, that's good to know.
He's not my favorite wrestler, but I think he's a fine opponent for Sting. I think the fact that they both are kind of, represent WWE and WCW.
Yeah, and definitely. I mean, Triple H definitely back in the day was like huge for me. He was the big heel from my childhood.
So if Sting's not gonna wrestle the Undertaker, because for me that's the true dream match. That's the franchise versus the franchise.
Yeah.
I understand why that's not gonna happen, because I don't think you can put two. I don't think you can put a Sting and an Undertaker in their current state together.
Yeah.
They need to both work with. They need to both work with somebody like a level above them. So
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we'll talk about the Undertaker thing in a minute, but I think the Triple H Sting match, I'm excited for it. It's one of the things that's keeping my chin up about the WrestleMania card. So don't let me have this, Benson.
Okay,
please.
I'm sorry.
Come on. You're gonna get to watch me totally flip out. The Sting entrance at
I'm excited for that.
The Sting entrance at WrestleMania is gonna be.
You're excited for Sting, but I'm excited for you. Like I'm excited to watch you at WrestleMania.
You should probably get it on video when I forget. But because I mean you were there at Comic-Con. So, but it's I'm just excited because I haven't seen Sting wrestle in person since Monday Nitro in 1997, and I'm just excited.
Yeah.
And so that's Fastlane. What are your thoughts on No More Elimination Chamber?
I like the concept of Elimination Chamber, but I haven't liked the actual pay-per-view.
That's true. I mean, last year's totally sucked. So
and I mean, there's always a chance they'll bring it back, right?
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
I guess it's kind of like how I feel about Marvel killing off Wolverine recently. It's like I love Wolverine, but it wasn't really doing anything that I needed to still see him in at the moment.
And according to this, on the pre-show, we got Miz TV with Paul Heyman.
Yeah,
that should be fantastic.
Yeah.
I would like to see Mizdow. Oh, but he's not doing his impressions anymore. I want to see Mizdow do a Paul Heyman. That would be awesome. Maybe we'll see that. I don't know. Yeah. So that's Fastlane. It's happening on Sunday.
Yep.
Are you watching live?
I'll be working, so I'll watch when I get off work.
Okay, I'll make sure not to text you anything.
I'll be like 2 hours behind.
No texting spoilers.
Yeah.
Sorry about the time I did that.
It's alright. I've forgotten.
Alright. Well, so looking forward then at a potential WrestleMania card, it really seems like we're going to see Bray Wyatt versus Undertaker.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Huh. I mean...
Do you think, have you seen, there was a recent picture of Undertaker, and because Mike, my friend Mike, who's going with us to WrestleMania, freaked out, because he sent me this, and first of all, it was a dirt sheet, and I'm like, okay, first of all, you got to take everything these guys say with a grain of salt, but there was a picture that was recently posted of Undertaker, and he looks terrible.
What can I do to find this picture, because I have not seen this?
I don't know. I think it was he posted like Undertaker has a Facebook.
Oh, okay.
And it's like him at the airport. But I'm like, this happens. And I told Mike, I'm like, look, this has happened every year for the last 5 years. Since Undertaker, it's been whenever Undertaker went part time, to only wrestling WrestleMania. So the last few years.
Yeah.
So around Royal Rumble time, a picture of a really run down Mark Calloway will surface.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, he's done. It's going to be horrible. And then he comes out at WrestleMania. Yes, he looks older, but but because it's his one match and because it's WrestleMania, Undertaker's not going to come and not going to wrestle a match if he doesn't feel like he's up to it.
And I'm looking at this airport picture now. Yeah, he does look rough. But, I mean, yeah, everything you're saying is also true.
But this happens every year.
Yeah.
And, again, there's plenty of time between then and WrestleMania for him to get in shape. He's had a year off. He didn't... Normally, after WrestleMania, he'll wrestle through July.
Yeah.
This year, he did not do that.
Yeah.
So he's had a year to recuperate. Do I think it's a good idea for him to wrestle?
I'm gonna
I
say no.
no, but is it going to be awesome when he comes out there? Yes.
Here's what my hope. Since Bray Wyatt used a ghost to interfere with Dean Ambrose at Hell in a Cell, I would really like for some kind of supernatural element to be present in this match.
I feel like we're going to see some kind of badass like lightning thing,
Yeah.
or maybe again after watching all the Royal Rumbles, there was the Royal Rumble where Undertaker basically ascended into heaven.
Yeah.
Like maybe we will get to see something like that.
I would like to see some kind of hint that Satan has had to pick a side in this match.
And I think that's why they picked Bray Wyatt, because I feel like we're gonna see some crazy shit.
Yeah.
And because I definitely would have to say that's gonna be true because Undertaker is so limited. I think they're gonna have to resort.
He's only 49.
He's
only 49.
I know,
it's always shocking when I.
I know.
Yeah.
But when you think about like the schedule that he's had and the fact that he's been doing this, I mean, he wrestled in WCW and he started wrestling in the 80s. He's been wrestling in WWE since 1990.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. I mean, yes, the last few years he's only had a few matches, but that's still like 20 plus years.
Yeah, it's
on nuts. A WWE schedule.
It's nuts.
And he's been doing it. I think he had when he got hurt and he came back as the Dead Man, I think that's the longest he was gone, which was like 8 months.
Yeah.
When he was actually during his full-time career, that was the only time he ever got hurt for an extended period of time. So it's been pretty nonstop for him. It's kind of amazing that he still can walk, let alone. I mean, he had a brutal match with Brock Lesnar last year. He probably can still feel that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for the best. I think it'll be entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't see how this isn't his. I mean, I think there's some significance to WrestleMania being in Texas next year. Maybe that will be his last match.
Oh yeah, that's a good
if
point.
This one isn't.
Yeah.
So I can maybe see this one not. I can see maybe that being his last match.
Yeah.
But then who is that match against? I don't know. I know he said he wants it to be against Daniel Bryan.
Huh.
But where will that fit into the current? I mean, who knows where Daniel Bryan's going to be next year? Nobody. I don't know. Hopefully, I'm in a good spot. But anyways, so we'll see. And then I think your thinking is triple threat. I think that's the logical conclusion. Yeah. I want to see a one-on-one match. My dream would be Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, same here.
That's where I feel like that's the jackpot pie in the sky.
Let me ask you this. This is going back to Undertaker. Suppose it's announced WrestleMania 32 in Texas. Undertaker versus Ryback. Now, do you feel a personal responsibility to do whatever you can to prevent this match for the sheer fact that it's likely that Ryback could end Undertaker's life in that ring?
Yeah, absolutely, because after just watching Ryback matches and after listening to various interviews and just I feel like Undertaker's life would be
what's your move? What do you do to save Undertaker's life in the event that an Undertaker Ryback match is announced?
What do I do? Man, I feel like there would have to be like I jump the rail and I don't know, I get in between.
But then you get in between them, security pulls you out, and then they have a match.
Well, then we have to kidnap Ryback.
Yeah. Here's what I think we have to do. And
We
this
kidnap
is
Ryback.
well, I have a solution here. It's a dark solution. We have to put Undertaker over the line. We have to injure Undertaker so that he can't perform in the match.
So you're talking like a Tanya Harding kind of situation?
Yes, I'm suggesting a life-saving Tanya Harding situation.
I think that would be easier to pull off than a kidnap Ryback situation.
Yes.
Okay, so if a mysterious something happens with Undertaker next year, it was totally not us.
Edit this out of the podcast. Sorry, let's go back to the championship.
Now I'm thinking about us, like in an alley in Austin, like Undertaker's getting his Undertaker is like carrying some groceries, and Benson's got like a mask on, and just bam, he's got like one of those like little like baton things. But wouldn't you still be terrified that even if you hit Undertaker, if you kneecapped him, that he would still grab you with his giant hand by the throat?
I mean, yeah, I would be. Of course, I would be terrified.
We would have to. Okay, it would have to be. Okay, never mind. Okay, it would have to be like a hit and run with a car situation.
Oh, jeez. Well, then at that point, I feel like we're running the risk of killing him.
Yeah, you're right. It would have to be a kneecap situation.
We gotta kneecap him
without getting killed, because he's still 6'8".
Yeah.
However many pounds.
He's got reach too. We're gonna have to get out of
Would you take one for the team?
What exactly does it mean to take one for the team? Is Undertaker gonna kill me?
Undertaker's gonna chokeslam you on the pavement.
Jeez, I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. If you're, did they use wrestling moves in real life? He probably would just punch you in the face.
Yeah, I don't think he would.
Okay, so Undertaker punches you in the face.
Yeah.
That's probably not going to be you might lose some teeth.
Well, I mean,
are your teeth worth a man's life?
Well, he's not going to punch me in the teeth because I'm going to kneecap him and run. He's going to punch me in the back of the head if I'm getting punched anywhere, I think.
And then I'll carry you away?
What? Well, I mean, are you willing
to can't walk.
Because you're going to be the one who gets... I mean, you're still going to have to get close enough for him to grab me. So you're going to be the one who's going to get punched in the teeth. He can't walk. He's collapsed at this point. So he's down.
So I can probably maneuver myself so that you're in between me and him, and I can pull you away.
Okay.
And then...
I mean, he's going to punch... I'm going to have to take the hit as he's going down.
You're taking a hit.
He's going to punch me as he's going down.
Yes.
Okay. I'm thinking if I were him, actually, I might go kidneys then instead of back of that, because I feel like that's going to cause some real pain and damage.
I think you'd be okay.
Yeah?
Again, we're talking a man's life.
I mean, I'm trying to save his life.
The whole time you're like, I'm trying to... This is for you.
I'm doing this for you.
I don't understand.
I tell you, but I guess if we're wearing masks and we get away clean, I'm worried about the legal repercussions as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I'd do it though. If it's literally to save his life, I think I'd do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get on you. All right, what else are we looking at for Royal Rumble for WrestleMania? I'm pretty sure we're looking at a John Cena Rusev rematch.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, the word on the street is that if Daniel Bryan isn't involved in the title match, both him and Dolph Ziggler have campaigned for Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler.
That would be great. I would love that. That'd
be like the match of the card.
Yeah.
There doesn't need to be anything at stake.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love that. I hope it happens.
So then, main event-wise here, we're talking about Roman Reigns. Who walks out of WrestleMania 31 as champion?
I have to imagine Reigns, assuming he wins at Fastlane. Or Rollins.
Is there any situation where you... Okay, yeah, so let's talk about that. So Rollins, there was a minute where it seemed like Rollins was going to be in big trouble because there was naked pictures published of...
Oh, yeah, I forgot to talk about
that. So basically here's what I can piece together what happened.
Yeah.
Rollins had some indiscretions with a NXT diva.
Yes.
His wife found out about this, and by discovering naked pictures of said diva on Rollins' phone, she then tweets these using Rollins' Twitter account.
Yeah.
Because she has said phone, and then she posts naked pictures of Rollins on said Twitter account and on Facebook.
Yes.
As an act of revenge.
Yeah.
So while Rollins is a dick for cheating on his fiancée, he is a victim of revenge porn here.
It's true.
And so I feel like the WWE was smart to just be kind of like, we're not going to get involved here.
Yeah.
Because it would have been, I think it would have been bad if they had punished Rollins for something that he didn't do.
Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, pictures of his dick are out there.
And they were on the front page of WWE.com.
Yeah, which is crazy. So I mean, they're not officially punishing him, but it's got to have some kind of impact on his career.
Yeah. So here's the question: is he cashing in at WrestleMania?
I mean, who knows?
Nobody's ever cashed in at WrestleMania. When everybody thought
Ziggler was going to do it.
He cashed. So if we're going off of that, he might cash in at Raw. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like he's going to be cashing in soon. I feel like as soon as Lesnar loses, he's probably...
I mean, definitely.
Because I don't see a situation where he cashes in on Lesnar.
Yeah, me
unless Lesnar was like incapacitated, but even then, I don't know.
Yeah.
And especially, I mean, they still haven't really cashed in on that like Shield breakup feud.
No.
In a formidable way, so that could lead to Reigns Rollins in a main event feud.
Yeah. A lot of ways this could go.
And Rollins has proved himself as the top heel in the company.
Yeah.
And I would.
That was my pitch for the next year, was them feuding, leading them to Dan Bryan. So I hope it goes that way.
Yeah.
But who knows what'll happen? He really put his dick in the spokes here.
We also live in a world where this time last year or around this time, Damien Sandow had the briefcase and lost it to John Cena, who was wrestling one-handed.
Poor Sandow.
At least, and now it seems like he's finally getting back to a good place, but they just won't pull the trigger.
They're just frozen him there, yeah.
What the hell? I mean, if anything, this is proof that Sandow is worthy, because he came back from that.
Yeah.
He has come back from the complete gutter to, like, he's getting cheered, like, unanimously.
Yeah.
He's probably as hot as he's ever been, so I don't know what's holding them back at this point. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I still think WrestleMania will be a good show. It usually is. It's gonna be fun. All right, what are your thoughts overall right now on the status of the WrestleMania card?
I'm looking forward to it. I think there's potential for a lot of good stuff on there. Especially if we do end up seeing that Daniel Bryan Dolph Ziggler match. I mean, that would be a dream for me. And honestly, we're looking at Lesnar versus Reigns or Daniel Bryan. Either way, that's good, I think.
Yeah.
And John Cena versus Russo. I don't know if we ever officially talked about this on the podcast, but I've come to a place where
you've finally come around a bit.
I can see the appeal of John Cena.
Yeah.
And I was talking about it with Hal Eblin at the show the other day, and he made the good point of when forgetting Once in a Lifetime Part 2, when it's like a big high profile match, John Cena rarely disappoints.
Which is completely true.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
look at the Royal Rumble main event. Look at the SummerSlam, both SummerSlams that, well, you didn't go to last year's, but you were there in spirit.
yeah. And
But both
even
SummerSlam main events and just recent main events that he's been in.
yeah. And even I'll even say even Once in a Lifetime Part 1 was I think better than I would ever have expected it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Part 2 again.
Part 2 not so much.
Shit show. But that I mean that Rock injured himself horribly like 2 minutes into the match.
Yeah. Speaking of The Rock.
Yes.
Do you think, I mean, at this point, I feel like there's not, I don't think he's going to wrestle at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Right? There was some rumors,
so.
but I feel like at this point, there's not a, they would have set it up by now.
But for a minute, it seemed like they were hinting at a Rock Triple H.
Yeah.
And that just kind of went away.
But now it's pretty clear that Sting.
Yeah. Sting.
So I mean, I definitely think he'll show up. It's in California.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. So WrestleMania, it's on a whole other level, and that experience was the best experience I've ever had. It's for a wrestling show, and I'm super happy that you get to come this year. It's gonna be awesome. Just the level of excitement, it's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
We might see some better matches at some of the indie shows that we go to.
Yeah.
But as an overall experience, this is it, and I'm excited.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be awesome. I got high hopes.
All right. Well, you know what else? I mean, giving me high hopes. Let's talk about NXT. So, did you watch the last pay-per-view?
I did not, unfortunately.
Okay, so you didn't watch the triumphant title win of Kevin Owens.
No, I heard the word, but I did not see it, unfortunately.
Man,
between just regular WWE and Lucha Underground, it's kind of taken up most of my wrestling time. Although I'm thinking of straight up just going Lucha Underground or NXT because it seems like that might be the better way to go for the most part. Check in with Raw every once and again, but you know.
NXT is my favorite show right now.
Yeah, I mean I hear nothing but good things.
Everything is going on full cylinders right now. The main event feud, I mean, again, Kevin Owens beats Sami Zayn, so this is Kevin Steen, El Generico. It's incredible. You've got Finn Balor, a.k.a. Prince Devitt, who is now the #1 contender. Rhino showed up out of fucking nowhere last week on the show, which is crazy. And he had a stare down with Balor. So you got Hideo Itami, and his match with Adrian Neville at the NXT show at Takeover was awesome. You've got, and then they just Solomon Crow. If you get a chance, look up Sami Callihan, SAMI, on YouTube, so you can see what he is capable of. He's a big PWG Indies guy that finally made his NXT TV debut, and he's got like this cool, it's like a hacker gimmick kinda. I don't know how to describe it, but it's really cool, and he's super intense. It's just NXT has been amazing.
Yeah.
And everybody should watch it. It's. I mean, it's.
I'll say I should watch it.
It's just. It's again like it's cool to go from you seeing Kevin Steen brushing his teeth at the QPW show to they. I mean, him and Zayn put on an amazing match, and he. And then the way he won via ref stoppage because he just destroyed, and he's been phenomenal, and NXT's awesome. Justin Gabriel, I mean, when I wrote this was in recent news, but Justin Gabriel released. It's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Because now he can. I mean, he can live to his full potential in the Indies.
Yeah.
And probably around in Japan and everywhere else. And we'll get to see him at Evolve. Listener Mark Ariano clued me in. It sounds like Hell in a Cell pay-per-view is going to be at Staples this year because we're not getting SummerSlam.
Oh, interesting.
So that would be cool. That would be a
Yeah.
cool thing
Yeah,
because I've never
definitely.
been to a non. I mean, I've been to SummerSlam and WrestleMania, and so it'd be cool to go to a different pay-per-view.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely be down for that.
The other thing, this has been announced: WrestleMania 32 in Arlington, Texas.
Yeah.
So
True.
outside of
Yeah.
Dallas. Um, I, I, I mean, it's not that far away, and well, depending on where I'm at this time, I mean, in when the tickets go on sale, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Plus, that's gonna be
Bit of
nuts.
a trek for me, but I'll be with you in spirit.
But I mean, that's gonna be like 100,000 people
Yeah.
potentially. So,
It's like
you know,
it's like all of Comic Con going to watch a wrestling show.
yeah. Speaking of Comic Con, what's your badge situation?
Don't have one. I'm gonna go into battle tomorrow.
Going into battle tomorrow. Oh.
If not, we've got some we've got some
We've got
friends.
other channels, but
Yeah.
may the odds be ever in your favor.
Thank you.
Uh,
To
man,
be honest, I feel like my chances are better through our other channels of getting preview night. So
it definitely like it seems like the ticket situation just gotten crazy.
because I mean I already charted presale and I didn't get them at presale, so I don't know what that says about my odds for open registration.
Hmm. Well, you never know.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm not worried. Like I said, we've got our other channels, and those other channels have never let people down before.
Yeah,
So,
and we've got our Benview Network room at Comic Con this year,
yup.
and um, I want to be. Given that the last 2 years at the Mattel panel have been awesome,
Mhm.
this year, and especially since we're staying right there, I want to try and get even closer.
Okay, yeah.
I just that Mattel panel has been. I don't know. Last year's Mattel panel was one of the greatest things I've ever experienced. I don't think it can ever live up to that, but
Yeah.
I'm excited, and Comic Con should be fun. Um, So, okay, what else we got here? Well, I've been watching a lot of WWE Network.
Nice.
Um, I was bummed they have this new show WWE 24, but then they've only released one episode of it.
Mm.
So the first episode, it was like it's like a backstage look at a certain event, and the first one it was WrestleMania 30, and it was really cool. Like they showed like when they're setting up for Triple H's entrance and like
Yeah.
all these other backstage stuff. That was good. I've been watching a lot of the Rivalries
Yeah.
series. That's been really awesome. And then the series it ended, but if you haven't watched Monday Night War, it's really
Good
great.
stuff.
Yes. And then another thing I think you will get a kick out of if you haven't watched any yet. Have you watched any Tuesday Night Titans yet?
No.
Oh my God. So for anybody that doesn't know, Tuesday Night Titans was basically Vince McMahon just thought it would be a good idea to have a wrestling show in the format of a late night talk show.
Oh shit! I
All
mean, I've seen.
Johnny
I
Carson.
forgot the title, but I've seen clips. Yeah, I've never seen the
And
full episode.
so basically it's like a talk show with like him and Lord Alfred Hayes. Lord Alfred Hayes is like his Ed McMahon.
But they're putting full episodes on the network.
Oh yeah, there's like a ton of episodes on the
Oh,
network
that's
now.
exciting!
Um,
I might check that out tonight.
they got Tuesday Night Titans, they got Saturday Night's Main Event, and then they got another one. I think it's like Primetime Wrestling.
Nice.
But the Tuesday Night Titans is amazing because there'll be like a match, like a pre-tape match. Then there will be like some kind of skit,
Hmm.
and then they'll have like a wrestler in the studio, and then they'll have another match. But the skits are oh my God, it's
Yeah.
amazing. You'll love it. You will love it.
All right, I'm excited.
I've been watching it like late at night, and it's like perfect for
That's
late
when
night
it's when you're supposed to watch
entertainment.
it.
Like I just watched the one where it was Don Morocco and Mr. Fuji, and it was called Fuji Vice.
Sure.
There's things like they had like the Wild Samoans, and they were like how to cook a turkey with the Wild Samoans. Um, It's just really weird shit, man. Like, but you gotta give it credit to Vince McMahon for just trying everything.
Yeah.
And he
just threw shit on the wall.
It's just crazy that I'm like, how can he hold it together during these segments? And but he never. I mean, he's just like, you know.
I'm sure that he took it very seriously. I would imagine that set had to have been kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, I could see that. So there's lots of great stuff on WWE Network.
Yeah.
They also put up the full. If you haven't seen, Ladies and Gentlemen, My Name is Paul Heyman documentary, that's up there.
Nice.
And lots of good documentaries. I know there was a whole cancel WWE Network thing trend on Twitter after Royal Rumble. I think that's dumb because the WWE Network is amazing. I don't want to give up the network to make a dumb statement to the WWE that I don't think they care.
Yeah.
So I would rather enjoy all of that entertainment that is available. And I think everybody, if you're a wrestling fan, I don't see why you wouldn't have the WWE Network.
Yeah, except maybe out of loyalty to CM Punk, who was revealed on The Art of Wrestling. Not a huge fan.
Yeah. Well, CM Punk made his choices, and I mean it's nice to understand where he's coming from, because for a while you had I didn't have any idea.
Yeah, but I mean his points on the network were valid. Like,
yeah, it's
kind of a shitty aspect. Like, that's the cost this comes at. Is like wrestlers not getting paid as much as they should be.
Well, I think it's where I mean, eventually they'll get paid more as more people subscribe.
Yeah.
I think at some point the pay-per-view model was dying.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. But the thing is, I mean, it's kind of gets into the writer's strike from a few years ago too. Is when companies make the switch over to this new media, it's a great opportunity to rewrite contracts and screw the talent.
Yes, I totally.
Yeah.
I think that hopefully they'll get it figured out, because
I hope so.
I don't want the network to go away, because now that I have this, and I'm not gonna buy pay-per-views. I'm not gonna pay $50 for pay-per-views.
That's craziness.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go back to streaming pay-per-views, like shitty connections and.
I don't know what you're talking about. I would never do something like that. That's illegal.
I don't. I'm just talking in theory.
I don't. To my local
I'm just telling you what I heard. I'm just telling you what I heard from somebody.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I mean, I think it's a great thing.
No, I mean, I'm definitely a subscriber to the network. I'm not trying to guilt anybody here. I subscribe to it too.
What do you think about Punk going to UFC?
I mean, I'll watch Punk wherever he goes. I don't really care about MMA though.
I've never really watched. I mean, I used to watch, like, when I was in high school, when he was just getting out.
He has he trained like as an MMA fighter. He has that background.
Yeah, so he might not get killed when he gets out there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. When's this fight again?
It's not for a while. They haven't even officially announced when and who it's against, but I mean, I'll watch it. Definitely watch it. But I hope he doesn't get seriously injured.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about. Well, I already talked about this quite a bit, but I watched every Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And there's some random shit. I guess there's always been random. It's funny, the random people that come out sometimes during the Royal Rumble. And I feel like half of the surprise entries are somebody in the back throwing a dude a bone.
Yeah.
Because even in the early 90s, there was one where, like, Dick Murdoch came out, and he was, like, 60 years old and looked it. But I mean, it's Dick Murdoch, so clearly either Vince or Pat Patterson or somebody was like, "All right, here you go.
Yeah.
Give you a paycheck." And so they've always done that, and it's kind of amusing, just kind of the random. There was also a period where they had a working agreement with AAA. So, like, one year there was like 8 like lucha libre guys, and nobody knew who the hell they were, but it was
What was that?
entertaining. It was like '95.
Huh. I remember. I've seen all the Rebels. I don't remember that.
And they still make a joke about Mil Mascaras.
Yeah.
Eliminated himself by jumping off the top rope to the floor. I don't think that was intended.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh yeah, you're eliminated," and you could tell he's pissed off. But yeah, there was one year where it's like Latin Lover, Octagon, like Pierroth, all these random. There was also that same year a minis match, refereed by Sonny.
Huh. That's weird.
Like Max Mini and a bunch of other guys is pretty awesome. It's also crazy that it reminded me that they have completely erased the memory of Chris Benoit, because you know how they always say that Mr. McMahon and Shawn Michaels are the only two people to start at number 1 and win the Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
Which is not true, because Mr. McMahon started at number 2, but that's how they are able to fudge the fact that, yes, 2 people have gone from number 1 to win the Royal Rumble, except one of them was not Mr. McMahon, it was Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
And, but I get it, because it's horrific. Every time I think about, well, maybe they are being a little hard on, they're not doing, they're being a little overreactive. Then I just read the Wikipedia about what he did, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's rough. It's a rough read.
I think that's the correct thing. So then, speaking of that, I've watched a ton of I've been watching Monday Nitro in order.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost done with the ones that they have up there.
Yeah.
It's really weird seeing Chris Benoit in like storylines, because there's, as Ron Funches pointed out on Twitter when the Monday Nitros first went up, there's scenes with him and woman, like they're together, they're like eating dinner together. It's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
But then I remember, like, oh yeah, before he did all that, Chris Benoit was my favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to deal with that sometimes.
It's tough.
So I think I get it. I get why. I mean, it's got to be hard, because at one point, yes, he was the guy in WWE, and he was on one path, and then he murdered his wife and child, and killed. And so I get it. It's just, it sucks. And I don't know. I mean, that's rough. So that's one of the things I noticed watching Monday Nitro in order. Another thing I noticed was that as great as the NWO is, there are episodes where it's seriously for like 20 minutes just them like babbling incoherently at the like announce table, or them just destroying things. Or, like, everybody loves to talk about when the episode where the NWO, like, came in and, like, took over and, like, were famously, I think it was Nash, like, threw Rey Mysterio Jr. into that TV truck.
Yeah.
That clip is shown all the time. Okay, what they don't show you when you're actually watching the Nitro that's from, so the NWO attacks. There is seriously like 30 minutes of TV where it's just people running around going, "We need an ambulance! We need an ambulance!" And it's all backstage, and it's just them running around for like 20 minutes of live TV. And I'm just like, this is boring.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Like, at the time, people were like, "What's going on?" I don't know. But like, looking back, you're like, wow, they did a lot of. There was a lot of just them killing TV time with nothing.
Suddenly, WWF winning the Monday Night Wars seems a lot less impressive.
Yeah. But there is, like... But then there's also phenomenal... So many, like... Their undercard is insane.
Yeah.
And Eric Bischoff would actually... Like, you could tell, like, if somebody was getting some, like, attention, then he'd do more stuff with them, and then also just like the other thing that he did was he would burn through matchups really quickly, so it's very entertaining. But after a while, you're like, there is a reason why programs get stretched out, because the alternative is you burn through these matchups, and then where do you go from there?
Yeah.
So it's funny seeing the other end of that. Like, we always complain, like, McMahon, same old shit, but then watching Nitro, where every week they're like, Chris Jericho is wrestling this guy, and then the next week he's wrestling this guy, and then the next week they got these guys, and then this week it's these other guys. Like, but then they quickly burn through it, and it, like, there is that other end of it. So it's crazy watching that. Also, it's hilarious. I feel like one of the NWO's biggest victims was Glacier. Because, man, they start airing the Glacier promos in, like, January of '96. And then every week for, like, months. Then the NWO hits, and then the Glacier promos stop. And then they come back, like, a little bit later, and then Glacier finally... And then the other thing that doesn't make any goddamn sense is they aired all these promos on Nitro, which was supposedly their flagship show, and then where was Glacier's first match? On, like, Sunday Pro. So they're like... So you're watching Nitro one day, and all of a sudden they're like, Glacier had his debut match on WCW Pro, and it's like, what the fuck? And so then he does have his Monday debut, and so for a while, like, I don't know why they let Glacier talk, because you watch these promos and it's like this badass Sub-Zero dude doing all these kung fu moves, and there's snow and shit, and then they air this extended promo where it's like, get to know the man, Glacier, and it's this dude with this hillbilly accent talking about going to Japan. And, like, it's the most boring promo ever. And then his matches... Well, I think at some point they realized that he sucked.
Yeah.
I think that's clearly what happened. Because then they just kind of offloaded him. And instead of, like... Because, like, you watch his promos and you think, Glacier is coming and he's going to be WCW champion. And he's the greatest thing that's ever happened. And instead, Glacier just gets... He makes his debut. He wrestles Big Boss Man. He wrestles a couple other guys, and then pretty soon he's got his own weird ninja villains that are fighting him, Wrath and Mortis, and then eventually he's just like a jobber within like 2 years.
Yeah, you played a cop on Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. But you could tell they spent so much money on Glacier. Like, well, they spent tons of money on everybody. Yeah. I feel like at some point Bischoff is just like, this guy, like, they're bringing in everybody. I mean, they bring, like, in '96, they brought back the Rock and Roll Express, and it's crazy because at first you're like, oh my God, these guys look old, but then they put on like an awesome match. Those guys could work. They made the other tag teams look bad, and I mean it's crazy, like the people, and it's also weird that they bring back. I'm at the point where they're starting to, like, the NWO starts to inflate, where like everybody's in the NWO.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it was. That's when it was just started. I don't know.
Like
it's just crazy how fast that got old.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, what the hell channel is TNA on now?
Who knows?
Do you get that
American
channel?
Something. We looked it up when we talked. I think it was just like off air, like before a Popsicle started. We talked about it, and I looked it up, and I do get that channel. I've never heard of it, and it's never something I would have found on my
Destination own. America.
That's it sounds like a shitty channel.
So you've never watched Impact Wrestling, I gather, then?
Not in quite a while.
Okay. Apparently on the TNA YouTube channel, in Canada, you can watch whole episodes of TNA Impact. Not on WWE, not on the US.
But in Canada.
That's some bullshit. Because I don't know. And then also like Bobby Lashley's their champion, and MVP is like one of their main guys. I've never I feel like Bobby Lashley had his chance like 8 years ago.
Is Austin Aries still there? Is he still doing stuff?
Austin Aries is still there. He's actually going to be. This was one of the bummers, because going up against the WrestleCon show is the WWN Live Super Show.
Yeah.
We probably could have made it if the venues were closer together, but because of the separation, we're not going to be able to make it. It's not going to work. But Austin Aries is on that show, so that's kind of a bummer because I would love to see him. But Samoa Joe just left, which is crazy.
Mick Foley was talking about, hey, what if he was in WWE?
Yeah, that would be insane. Yeah. At the very least, maybe we'll see a Samoa Joe appearance at some of the indie shows WrestleMania week. I don't know. If I were Triple H, I would try to sign him right now. And there are rumors that he is. So that I think that would be the way to go because
definitely.
If him and Kevin Owens resume their feud, or if him and Daniel Bryan, holy shit.
Of course, we get him after CM Punk's gone, but still, the possibilities are crazy.
Although, I don't know. I think it's more likely they'll sign Samoa Joe than they would AJ Styles because I think he's more of the type that they look for. So but I honestly I don't know what's going on in TNA. I know Drew Galloway just made his debut, and I haven't. I guess I don't know. You haven't been watching at all?
Not at all. And you know what? I'm gonna say no regrets.
Kurt Angle re-signed because I'm pretty sure he tried to get a WWE contract, and I don't think they were interested.
Yeah, that was the rumor. I definitely heard that.
All right. Well,
both the Hardy Boys are back in TNA. Is this correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
What?
Matt Hardy left Ring of Honor.
Huh.
I think that was another thing where they might have gone to WWE and WWE said no.
Yeah, man, no thanks.
Because, again, that's still to me the moment I kind of lost my interest in the Hardys was when, because I was back huge in 2009.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan because it's after The Wrestler came out, and then that kind of renewed my interest. And then I was watching, and Jeff Hardy was champion. And it was like this. It was amazing. He finally made it up there, and then he was feuding with CM Punk. CM Punk cashed in, and then they had this awesome feud. Punk turned heel. They used the whole, Jeff Hardy had some drug problems.
Yeah, I remember that.
So Punk turned heel and did the full straight edge thing, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And then Jeff Hardy's just like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving. And I'm just like, Jeff Hardy just like is at the top of it, where I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But I love watching the Hardys. I love watching their old matches. But I get why.
I remember when I was watching TNA for a minute, would have been 2012, 2013, somewhere in there. Jeff Hardy was looking real rough then.
Oh well, yeah, that was around the time when they had the Bound for Glory main event with him and Sting, and he showed up completely shit-faced.
Yeah, that was rough.
They basically canceled the match. Yeah. And it was the main event match of their biggest pay-per-view of the year.
It was a rough
Sting
time,
basically forced him to the ground and pinned him. Yeah. I've heard that they cleaned up, but how long does that last that they've cleaned up again? And I don't know. They're both kind of nuts. All right. Well, on the indie Japan side, if you haven't gotten a chance to watch Wrestle Kingdom 9 yet from January, you really should. So Jeff Jarrett's company, I forgot, Global Wrestling, Federation or whatever. They signed a deal with New Japan, and they brought in Matt Stryker and Jim Ross to do English commentary for Wrestle Kingdom 9,
Pretty
and
great.
that show is just fucking crazy.
Huh.
I was blown away. It was great. The commentary was great, but just the level that those guys are on, all like the main guys, Shinsuke Nakamura, Tanahashi, Okada, like their main guys are just on a whole other level.
Yeah.
And I know they came to America last year to do some shows, Ring of Honor on the East Coast, and if they do that again, anybody that can go should go because those guys are amazing. Also, it was cool. The opening match was the Young Bucks versus Red Dragon versus I forgot what their name was, but we actually saw them wrestle at an MWE show. I think it was an MWE show. But then we have seen the Young Bucks, and we also Kyle O'Reilly. We have seen, and so that was cool seeing a bunch of guys that we'd seen before wrestling at New Japan Giant Show.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't checked out Wrestle Kingdom 9, it was a really great show. Now let's talk about my new favorite wrestling show.
What's that?
Lucha Underground.
Oh yeah, of course.
Holy shit!
It's great, right?
This show came out of nowhere, but they have a ton of money behind it using El Rey Network and Robert Rodriguez and Mark Burnett and those guys.
Yeah.
It's basically AAA plus Southern California indie wrestlers.
Yeah.
It's great. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian Cage just made his debut. Alberto El Patron just made his debut.
Very happy to see that.
You've also got guys that we have been watching forever, like Famous B, B-Boy, Little Cholo.
Yep, Brian Cage. Did you say that already?
Yeah, Brian Cage. Willie Mack is rumored to be making his debut soon.
Sorry about that.
So, yeah, because unfortunately, Willie Mack was officially signed to a developmental deal with WWE, was supposed to report to Orlando, had his last show, PWG, and then WWE said, actually, we changed our minds.
Yeah, bummer.
So that's a super bummer. I hope somewhere down the road...
Yeah, hopefully we'll see him on TV again soon.
But, well, speaking of... We'll talk about it in a minute, but Lucha Underground kicks ass.
Yeah. Seriously, everyone.
I mean, you got John Morrison.
Yeah.
You've got Ezekiel Jackson.
Matt Stryker's on commentary.
You got all these like the AAA guys have really been blowing me away.
Yeah.
The Drago, what's the other guy? Phoenix.
Yeah, they got minis. I like the minis are featured.
Yeah, the minis.
Yeah. And Minnie's actually wrestling.
The mini, and then they got the cross-dresser guy.
Yeah, they got the yeah.
Was the Scarlet?
Which I knew was a big thing in Mexico, but
Pimpernella.
Yeah.
What do they call them? They're like the.
Fuck. There's a word for it. I'll try to look it up.
Eroticos or something.
I don't think it's that. It might be. I'll look it up. I'll report back. But yeah, it's great.
I'm gonna Pimpernella Escarlata. That's his name. Pimpinella Escarlata. So it's also, I mean, as you said, Matt Stryker, and Exotico.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So that's like part of. Exoticos are male wrestlers who appropriate feminine aspects in their wrestling personas. So it contests the dramatic representation of machismo. So yeah, it's a lucha libre thing, and
which we kind of, I mean, with adorable Adrian Adonis, I would say we kind of had our version of that.
Yeah. In America. Well, adorable Adonis, Gold Dust.
Yeah.
At his most Gold Dusty.
Yeah.
Like 96 Gold Dust.
But there's a lot. I mean, it feels a lot less homophobic on the lucha libre side, which is nice.
So
because the thing in lucha you have heel and face Exotico.
They also have
American.
They also have intergender.
Yeah, they do intergender matches, which is really great. I love it's like
Sexy Star, and then Evil East, who I saw wrestle last year at the Shimmer. She was the Shimmer champion actually.
Yeah.
I saw her wrestle Jazz, but she's great.
Yeah, she's fantastic, and also they kind of stage it and they shoot like the non-in-ring segments in a way that's way.
Oh yeah, dude, it's like Hollywood.
But it's like a soap. It's like they shoot it like as a regular soap opera.
Yeah, like they're like the vignettes are really well done, and there's also some there's some weird shit going on in this show.
Yeah.
What do you think is in that cage that the guy has the key to?
Who can say? But I'm excited to find out.
Like it's some kind of weird monster. There's some telenovela shit going on at the.
Maybe they're trying to work on a kaiju big battle. Maybe Godzilla's gonna pop out of that cage.
Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about that, but that's the other thing we're going to WrestleMania weekend is kaiju big battle. I went to it last year. It was one of the most fun things I've ever been part of. It's really we're gonna try and get Derek to go. If Derek comes up to the show, I think if we can get him to go to anything.
It'll be Kaiju Big Battle.
Yeah, because it's dudes in giant kaiju suits.
Yeah,
and
also for the viewers at home, if you've seen Crank 2, when they have that big fight, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, but they also have giant food items and other things. It's really fun.
But Lucha Underground.
Lucha Underground.
Also, I like even the way they shoot the matches doesn't look like any other TV show. It's like these crazy aerial shots where you're just looking straight down on the ring.
They got these crane shots that WWE doesn't do that.
Yeah, and I have to imagine that's got to be Robert Rodriguez's influence. I know he's not directing it, but I have to imagine he's an EP.
And it's made it unique enough that it's not just another wrestling show. Because this is where I think TNA went wrong. They don't have their own unique style or feel. They just feel like they're trying to copy WWE. Whereas this show, this is its own unique thing.
Definitely. And TNA's big version of, we're doing our own thing was what if the ring had 8 sides or 6 sides or whatever it was.
This is we're going to do full-on lucha libre matches. We're going to bring in all these guys. And they're bringing in all kinds of guys. They just brought. Oh, it's also funny watching local wrestlers get their arms broken. It's both Famous B and Ricky Mandel, another local wrestler that we've seen numerous times.
The mirror image.
Their arms broken by Pentagon Jr. Is that his name?
I think so. That sounds right to me.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Then they got that Mil Muertes guy.
Yeah.
All the luchadors are awesome.
Yeah.
And then you got Brian Cage just destroying everybody. Brian Cage is a true. He is a machine. Yeah, he's a freak of nature.
I'll get him on the mic again. I'll put him in his place.
Have you watched any of the? He's part of some. There's a fan film, a He-Man fan film, and he's He-Man. And it looks amazing.
That's great.
He is a perfect He-Man.
Yeah, he's got the. He just needs a win.
As Kevin Steen has said on the Colt Cabana's podcast. It's seriously, sometimes you're concerned that his muscles are just going to pop out of his skin. That's how ripped he is.
Mr. GMSI, or whatever his Twitter handle is.
It's GMSI.
Yeah.
Get my shit in. So, yeah.
By the way, you've been to one of these, so you know, but I Google imaged Kaiju Wrestling, and it's delightful. If you can't make it out to a show, I highly recommend everybody out there at least do a Google image search. You will see fun shit. Right now, I see 2 wrestlers, and there's a giant waffle with arms in the background.
Yeah, that's what. There's a lot of food items.
I see some kind of weird squid beast wrestling what looks like a can of beans.
Yes,
this is great. This is delightful.
There's the plantain guys.
I've seen those guys.
The little plantain guys are my favorite guys. They're awesome. So that's what you're in for with Kaiju Big Battle.
I cannot wait.
It's gonna be fun. But yeah, Lucha Underground. If you haven't watched it, it's
On the Outright Network.
it's on El Rey Network. You can
Yeah,
also it's also if you have a lot of people that don't have El Rey Network, they have the it's on a Mexican channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
but it's broadcast in Spanish. But it's Hugo Savinovich from former Spanish announcer for WWE.
Oh, nice.
And a lot of people seem to like that. But a lot of people that didn't have it, I watch it online, but that's just how I roll.
Yeah.
But it's a great show, and again, I can't say enough about it. I just wanted to make a quick note on how PWG is just blown up huge to the point where they're like the top indie in the world. Except they're at a tiny venue that only has like 200 tickets, 300 maybe.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to get like the tickets that they sell out immediately, and then they reserve some for like so you buy like the first couple rows, I guess, online, and then everything else is at the door. But I heard you have to get there like crazy early, and their shows are on Friday nights in Reseda. So if you're coming out of town, like, good luck with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really want to see a PWG show. I just don't know if we're ever going to be able to.
Yeah, it's tough.
But they've been blowing up huge. Also, because of the amount of stars they have, their tickets are like $40. It's a lot of money for an indie show.
But you know, it's good. They're bringing in bigger stars, and then the smaller indie shows can kind of poach off them. And
yeah, hopefully it'll be more.
Yeah.
We need a new like.
Yeah, because QPW hasn't had a show in forever.
No.
We got to check out the one Orange County Championship Wrestling.
Definitely.
They're right by my work. According to Google Maps.
We need a new indie. Because we need a new MWE, because MWE is great.
Yeah, and this Orange County Championship Wrestling, they Mikey O'Shea wrestles there a lot in
nice.
MWE.
So that's a great segue, because the last thing I wanted to talk about was Championship Wrestling from Hollywood has a Patreon.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen this, but you can, and if you support the Patreon, if you contribute, the minimum is $2 a month. And then you get videos every week. You get the current episode of Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and then they have like their vault that they've kind of opened. So like they had AJ Styles versus X-Pac from like Red Carpet Rumble. They just put up a match from 2004 with Daniel Bryan. They had a couple. They've been putting up some awesome matches. But I've been watching like the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood episodes. And one of the matches that I watched was Adam Pearce versus Mikey O'Shea in a cage.
Nice.
And it was
should
great.
get one of those tapings tonight. I feel like
we definitely should. But they're in Point Wyoming.
Oh yeah, they used to be in Glendale. They were in Glendale for a while.
Now they're in Point Wyoming, which is pretty far.
We blew it.
I think we should do it sometime.
Yeah.
But so Adam Pearce is retired now.
Bummer. He was good.
He had his retirement match against Colt Cabana on CWFH. But let me tell you, the CWFH show, for $2 a month, and you get all these shows, it's a great deal because
it's like a little mini WWE network. It's only $2 a month. Yeah,
and their shows are amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of great indie talent. My favorites, also your favorites, but our favorites. You got Mikey O'Shea. You got PP Ray are back. Ray Rosas had he was out for like 6 months.
Yeah.
So they won the tag team titles, but then they lost them to the Rock Ness Monsters.
Another one of our faves.
So they're feuding with Rock Ness Monsters.
Nice.
Joey Ryan just recently joined Vermin.
Yeah, that's exciting.
With the Rock Ness Monsters. He had I just watched a great interview on the CWFH show. We've also got the Hobo. I don't know if you've seen the Hobo. He's great.
I love the Hobo.
But he is currently... They're gearing up for a title match. He's the champion, and they got a title match coming up between him and Willie Mack.
Nice.
So Willie Mack is back on the CWFH. You also got our he recently wrestled in the Percy Pringle Memorial Tournament. You got our good friend James Main Event Morgan.
Yeah, love James Main Event Morgan.
Speaking of James Van Morgan, did you see Heather Lynn at the Royal Rumble?
No.
She was on TV at the Royal Rumble.
What was she doing?
She was like with the Rosebuds.
Oh, whoa! I didn't catch her. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Heather Lynn, of course, was the valet of James Van
And has
Morgan.
also appeared on the show.
Yeah. Appeared on the show. Had a sort of lesbian angle in QPW for a minute.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But she's been doing a lot of stuff at Evolve.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know if she'll be coming out for these shows, but because I think she lives on the East Coast now. I think she actually lives in the Florida area.
Huh.
Because I know she's been going. I follow her on Twitter, and she goes to a lot of NXT shows, and I think she's trying to get in there. I just don't know. Yeah. She's doing a lot of indie stuff.
Well, we wish her the best of luck. She was very nice to us, and she's a great talent.
And then we've already talked about Timothy Thatcher, but him and Drew Gulak came over here, and they've been wrestling quite a bit for CWFH, and they've been putting on some great matches. So again, check out Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. It's also check your local listings because they've been increasing their amount of shows. Oh, I lost Benson for a second there. Benson. I'm gonna give him a minute, but yeah. So they've been doing quite a few shows with them, and okay, 2:15. Hold on. Are you back?
I lost you for a second. I'm back. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Hold on one second.
What'd I miss?
No, I was just talking about Timothy Thatcher and Drew Gulak are in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
They came over from the East Coast, and they've been having a lot of good matches. So I watched a 3-way tag team match with them, PP Ray, and Rock Ness Monsters. It was really great.
Nice.
So, again, check out the Patreon for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And if you check your local listings, because they've been expanding their show, it airs in quite a few places.
Yeah, I know. I can say for sure it airs on KDOC. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm suddenly panicking with that, but Channel 56 in my neck of the woods at 3 a.m. on Saturdays. But yeah, good stuff.
But if you don't want to stay up at 3 a.m. on Saturday, subscribe to their Patreon, and you can watch it anytime. And I got my Chromecast, so that's how I watch it. It's nice. Great. And, yeah. So I think that's going to do it for this edition of Matt and Brendo's Wrestling Show. We will be back for our post Fastlane pre-WrestleMania show.
Yes. Hopefully with Hal Upland, if we can get the schedule right.
And then we are gonna we're gonna be at WrestleMania in the coordinating event. So I wanna try and get some new bumpers.
Yes.
Hopefully,
that would be great.
Maybe some interviews with some talent. You never know. I think we're gonna be hopefully meeting up with Chris Hayner at WrestleMania at some point. He's gonna be up there for if you go to zaptoit.com. Our friend Chris Hayner writes. He writes about wrestling quite a bit on there. That's one of his beats.
Nice.
And he was on our Benview Megacast at WonderCon last year.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I remember.
So hopefully we'll be able to meet up with him there. Yeah. Also coming up, we have the Benview Megacast at WonderCon.
Yep.
This year. That'll be the first week in April, and we're gonna have our Webcomics Advocates panel there. But if you're gonna be at WonderCon, check us out.
Yeah. Benview will be representing at WonderCon.
And if you're going to be at WrestleMania, let us know. If any of you are going to be there, we can have an MBWS meetup. Hit us up. Go to mbwspod.com and click the contact button, or you can hit us up on Twitter What's our Twitter account?
MBWS Podcast?
I think it is podcast.
I believe it's podcast. I'm double checking right now. I'll have that info in 1 second. It is MBWS Podcast, yes.
And don't forget to go to BenviewNetwork.com.
Yep.
And for all the Benview Network shows.
Yeah, check them all out. I'm on a lot of them.
We got, and then I am at Brendo Man on Twitter.
Yep.
Also got Radio Brendo Man. We got Popsicles.
Yep.
That you and I are both on.
Correct. Benson's Boombox. Recently Back from the Dead. Shut Up Leonard. Benview on Spielberg. And I'm not on it, but recently added. We actually got 2 new shows recently added to the Benview Network. If you're one of those sports fans, you can check out Grissom on the Run, which is an Atlanta Braves podcast from Matt Esposito, who you may know from the Nerd's Eye View podcast. He's got his own sports spin-off show called Grissom on the Run. And Dinner Party Small Talk, which is actually hosted by a Popsicles fan. That's how I found her. And it's a very funny comedy show. You get their sketches, characters, all kinds of good stuff.
Who does that?
Nissa Hamilton is her name, and Matt is the other host. I do not remember his last name, unfortunately.
Nice to have a lady on the Benview Network.
It is very nice, and she's a Popsicles fan, and it's a great show she does. Dinner Party Small Talk is the name of the show.
Awesome.
You can find all those on BenviewNetwork.com.
All right. Anything else going on? Any other plugs?
Well, go to agentsofguard.com to check out my wrestling reviews. I review every pay-per-view there.
Yeah.
But I think that'll do her.
Okay. Well, you can again go to MBWS Pod and hit the contact MBWSpod.com. Hit the contact button, and we will read your emails on this show. So, if you got something to say, feel free.
Yeah.
And if you have any suggestions or recommendations for indie shows, or if you have some questions, something you want us to talk about, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it then.
Yeah, good show.
So for Matt and Brendo's Wrestling Show, I'm Brendan Creasy.
And I'm Matt Benson.
We'll see you next time.
Cool. I'm out. I stopped recording.
All right.
And I'll send this file to you right quick.
All right. Cool. Well, that was a good show.
Yeah.
I guess I'll see you. We're doing 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah. That's what it looks like. Yeah.